Greetings fam, John Zhu here. Today I'm here to talk to you about what it was like growing up Korean American. Now I grew up in the 562 area and there were a lot of Koreans in my area, especially later on in junior high and high school. But I think I felt a bit of the struggle in elementary. It's a strange dichotomy because it's so polar opposite in terms of culture and also language. When it comes to the language, it's hard for a lot of Koreans, especially immigrants, to pronounce certain letters because there's no Korean sound for F or R or Z or V. That's embarrassing when your parents suck at English. And definitely my childhood memories are full of me having to translate for my mom, whether it's something as simple as reading a piece of mail or ordering something at a fast food restaurant. Yeah, even those types of things were a struggle for my mom. My mom totally sucked at English. And so that being the case, technically English is my second language. I learned Korean first and I always spoke Korean at home, or I tried. My Korean got watered down over the years, and so that caused the language barrier between me and my mom. We had a bad relationship as a result. The other thing about being Korean American is that you're not fully accepted by either side. Try to speak Korean to like native speakers who immigrated over, and then they hear the American accent when you talk, and they're like, oh yeah, you're an American. And then you go and talk to other fellow Americans, and they're like, where are you really from? Because you're not really American, right? Like, where are you really from? Where are your people from? It's not good enough when you say I'm from Cerritos. Like, no, where are you really from? You know, I got a lot of that. As a Korean American, you're kind of pushed into the role of being a bridge, especially for those who are not down with American culture. And then on the flip side, for Americans who can't understand Korean culture and need to deal with Koreans, you become like this bridge, you become a translator in different contexts, in different situations. If there's a native speaker who can't speak English and they see you around and they're struggling, whether it's at the library or at a park or at school or at work, it doesn't matter where it is. If there's someone there that looks Korean, they'll reach out usually and be like, Korean? And if you are Korean and you say, yes, I am Korean, you're getting sucked into their situation, and they're gonna be like, oh, help me, and they'll just start asking you for all kinds of help, and it's almost like a given. You're obliged to help them because you're a fellow Korean. It's like, oh, you know I'm struggling, just help me out. That's happened to me a lot of times. So at that point, just say, no, I'm Chinese. I'm just playing, half joking. But that definitely happens. As I grew up, I hung out with a lot of other fellow Koreans, but I think just like-minded people just happen to come together and connect more easily. And because there was an abundance of Korean Americans in my community, we kind of stuck together, and it was just easier to make friends that way because we understood each other's struggles. Our parents knew each other a lot of times, went to the same church, or whatever it might be. Interesting fact, a lot of Korean Americans are Christian, but a lot of Koreans, like straight up Koreans, are not Christian. I don't know how that works. I think when they come into a foreign country, they all of a sudden realize they need God. Like, help me, Jesus. A lot of them here are Christian. I'm not gonna say any more about that. K-pop. K-pop is another thing I could talk about. I grew up listening to K-pop. I started listening to it in elementary. I started off listening to an artist named Kim Gun-mo, who was really popular during the 90s. And Seotaeji, that was definitely a big group during the time. Rula. During junior high school, it was a very pivotal time because a group called Solid came out. And these three guys from California went to the motherland and did it over there. And this is during an era where K-pop was getting experimental. They were trying to delve into rap. They were trying to dabble with R&B and just different genres, but they weren't doing it right. And then Solid came and showed them how it's done the right way. And when me and my friends heard them, we were just blown away, like, whoa, these guys actually got skill. Like, their music is actually on par with the type of stuff that we listen to here in the US. And I was just blown away. So it's dope. Shout out to Solid, by the way, and the big homie DJ Action. But Solid recently made a comeback. I recommend their new album called Into the Light. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. It's dope. Dope. Yeah. Anyways, back to the story. I listened to K-pop when it was not the popular choice. No one listened to it back then. Hardly anyone anyways, especially my friends, and they thought I was whack for listening to it. They're like, what's wrong with you? Why are you listening to that? Are you a fob? And some of you guys might have watched Eddie Huang's show and you might be familiar with the term, but fresh off the boat. That's the phrase that was coined for people who are from the motherland, and it's kind of across the board for all Asian countries, but they're called fobs. And you know, you did not want to associate with fobs. Fobs didn't want to associate with you because, you know, there was this weird dynamic, you know, it's just like, you're not one thing, you're not the other either. But it was like that for all Asian Americans just in general, I think. This identity crisis is just very common because there weren't a lot of Asian Americans in entertainment or, you know, big names in society that you could really look to as role models. Growing up, the only famous Asian might have been like Bruce Lee, and some people might just come up to me and be like, hey man, you know karate? Like, wah, you know? All those stereotypes, of course, they think you're good at math, and you know, imagine everyone's surprise, you know, I never made it to calculus. I never even made it into trigonometry. I failed geometry. I had to repeat that, and algebra too. That's as high as I got. I barely graduated high school. You know, people expected that I'd be a nerd, but I was on academic probation, just barely getting by. So that was a trip. Another thing I could talk about is the food. A lot of Korean food is made with garlic as the base, and so it stinks. It stinks. They say Koreans smell like garlic. To a certain degree, it's true that you are what you eat. I mean, you can't avoid the fact that your place is gonna smell, your clothes are probably gonna smell somewhat like your food. And so a lot of Koreans do smell like garlic, I guess. And will probably smell like kimchi sometimes. And kimchi does have a very distinct smell. It's fermented cabbage and it's spicy. My grandma used to make kimchi in West Covina, and she'd be making it, and she told me there was a time some kid came to her door and was like, kimchi, 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 oh, kimchi, kimchi. And obviously he's mocking her. But my grandma has a sense of humor. Little did this kid know that she has a sense of humor. She invites him in and gives him a piece of kimchi. Oh, you want kimchi? She gave him some. He tried it and he liked it. And so he comes back with some cabbage the next day and he's like, kimchi, kimchi. And he asks her to teach him how to make it. And she can't even speak English, but she broke it down, she chopped it up, and she showed him how to make it. And he took some home. Funny story. Anyways, we're bound to get clowned on for that, you know. We get clowned on for, oh, we eat dogs. And you know what? It's true. Koreans in the motherland, they do eat dog. I hate to admit that, but it's just true. But you know, that's one of the stereotypes that's actually true. Koreans in the motherland do eat dog. Not all of them, but it is definitely a delicacy that some people enjoy. Here in the States, I just want to make it clear, Koreans do not eat dogs. We do not go around hunting your pets. And I've never tried dog myself, and I don't really plan to. I don't plan to, unless you guys know a good spot, let me know. I'm just playing. I think it's kind of interesting now, because as someone who grew up being clowned on for, you know, the type of food that I ate and the type of music that I listened to, you know, as a Korean, you know, now I'm seeing this wave of people that are showing a lot of interest in Korean entertainment, K-pop, and Korean food. I see a lot of foreigners who are really into Korean barbecue, Korean food in general, and they're showing a lot of interest in the culture and the language. And to me, that's such a trip. It's very ironic. It's like poetic justice, because me and my friends grew up having an identity crisis, trying to be accepted by American people, trying to be accepted into American society. And now to see Americans and other foreigners getting into Korean culture and language, it's just a trip. And I think it's dope that the world is becoming a smaller place because of technology and social media, and people are becoming more open-minded and connecting with people of other backgrounds. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I hope that that continues. Definitely been to my share of places where I was a minority for real. You know, I got looks, I got stares, and you know, people were looking at me like I'm an alien. That sucked. That was really awkward. I've definitely had my share of moments where I felt discriminated, but not very heavily. I want to say, I think that probably that black people and Middle Easterners are probably discriminated the most in this country from my observation. I feel really bad for that. As an Asian American, I don't think I was discriminated that much, although I did definitely have my share, but it wasn't severe. It's more like being alienated and just ignored, or just treated badly, or people just being cold or being mean. That was usually the extent of it. Anyways, it's a trip. It's definitely been a struggle, and it continues to be a challenge, but I embraced the challenge. And as I grew up as an adult, I was able to connect with the Korean community. I was able to work for Korean companies, which sucks because there's a lot of politics involved, and you know, there's this whole aspect of you treat your elders with much respect, and you bow to them, and you talk all formally, and you know, you do what they say. And if you're younger, you know, you're definitely gonna receive some bad treatment at times. But then there's also the aspect of them looking out for you, the elders looking out for the ones that are younger. And so I guess there's a give and take. But I was able to get a lot of jobs pretty easily because of the fact that I was bilingual. I relearned Korean as an adult because I sucked through junior high and high school. So I relearned it in the workplace, and that's helped me out a lot. Me being bilingual has opened up many doors, and they became stepping stones to get to the point where I'm at right now. So that's been a huge blessing. I'm thankful for the Korean community here in Southern California and the people that I've come to know. My circle is largely Korean American, and especially because of the church community and because there's such a strong presence in the church, that's really allowed me to build a strong network. And so I'm thankful at this point in my life. I embrace the fact that I am Korean American, and I like being able to go back and forth between both worlds. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I think that life in general is more fun if you become open-minded to different cultures. One culture that I'm taking more interest in is the Mexican culture. I've been trying to pick up some Spanish. I don't speak a whole lot, but I want to learn, you know, and I think it's dope. I think it's dope to be able to speak multiple languages and open yourself up to more cultures, because why close yourself off? You're missing out on opportunities to be able to connect with a whole bunch of people because you're just closed-minded about it. So I hope that everyone becomes more open-minded, not just to Korean Americans or Asian Americans, but just other cultures in general. We're all part of the human race, and we could all benefit if we could learn to just get along. Spread peace and love, y'all. Peace.
They paid you off.
Nice, Aiden. Good job.
Let me see one more time. Do I still have it? Yeah!
Oh, good job.